These are probably easy questions because I see all y'all and you're all pinheads. But first question, when was the first Jersey Jack pinball machine released?
2012. 13.
Yep, that's right.
You get popcorn.
Get a t-shirt.
Thank you.
Here's that t-shirt. Alright. See, a little bit easier. Before you shout it out, raise your hand and I'll pick you so you give people a chance. Alright, easy one. What are the 4 pinball... I'll make it harder. What are the 4 pinball machines Jersey Jack has made so far and their designers? If you can get all of those right, you get a Jersey Jack translate.
Ooh, translate.
Translate.
Yep, in the back.
I think Wizard of Oz and Hobbit are Balser.
Yep.
And Dialed In is Waller.
Yep.
And Pirates is Eric.
Oh, you got it. Is it that one or Alright, let's see, what else? Oh, here's another year one. This is easy. What year did the famous Roger Sharp save pinball?
77.
Nope.
No.
76.
76. He's
69.
Here,
Who's that?
let's give him
16.
no. You get Museum of Pinball gift card.
Thank you.
Let's see what else.
Oh, yeah, oh,
This will be a fun one. Yeah, we'll let them pick. For either a Pinball Star or a Jersey Jack t-shirt. How many seconds did Pinburg sell out this year?
45.
He's got it.
Which one you want, bro?
You guys know everything.
Sick nerds.
Alright.
Die-hard fans. I like that.
Alright, let's see.
Let's go with the Schmedium. No, there's something about
Alright. Okay, this can be a translite one too. Translite. What was Jack's first pinball machine? You have to listen to a lot of podcasts.
What
and stuff
is
like that.
Fireball?
Incorrect.
Spider-Man Black.
Nope.
Technically. Shrek.
No. I love Shrek though.
Sean.
No.
They're just grabbing things.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of games left.
The Stumper.
What is high speed?
Incorrect.
He bought or he made or
That he bought. Like his first
personal.
his first personal pinball
Personal machine. Oh, wow.
machine. You guys can answer again. Anyone? Now that you know the question.
What is Black Knight?
No. You guys naming off pinball machines.
Elvira.
You get there. No.
Come on now.
No.
Wow.
Close.
King of Diamonds.
No. Let's see.
Firepower. No, perfect.
Banzai Run.
Who made
No.
William?
This is probably some right
Now I feel like a
What
noob
year?
too.
Swords of Steel.
What's up, Eric? Take a seat.
Twilight Zone.
Looks like I'm late to the party.
Yeah, that
Think of a
there is
name
too
and
much.
say
It is it's a Williams
Whoa.
in the 80s.
Whoa.
80s.
Taxi.
Sorcerer. Comet.
Police Force. Police Force. Bad Cats.
Black Day.
Flash.
No, Black Cat's right there. No Flash.
Oregon.
Fire.
Defender.
No fire.
Defender.
Alright,
No sorcerer.
Grand Lizard.
No Grand Lizard.
Big Guns.
No Big Gun.
it's a Barry Osler.
No boy. No war.
What's the question?
Artist. It's a very obvious.
What
No Bad
was
Cats.
Jersey Jack's first pinball machine that he owned?
That he owns.
Yes.
And it's not Sorcerer.
No.
Riverboat Gambler.
Sorcerer for 3 times now. No.
Yes. Wait, they're not listening.
Age before beauty.
No. 4 times now. Sorcerer. Jokers. No.
No, it sometimes gets confused with a Gottlieb pinball machine with the same name.
That was
But from the
Same
50s.
50s.
Oh.
That's a good one. That's a good hit right there.
Not enough.
Yeah, really.
Good, but not good enough.
Thanks.
50s.
Another clue.
Let's see, what's another food? It has to do with...
I don't know if we get any more clues. I can have the name of the game. Come on.
What's it start with?
First letter.
It has to do with theme parks.
Hurricane.
No comment.
Cyclone.
Hurricane.
Cyclone.
Where's who's cyclone?
I got two cyclones here.
All right, here you go, man.
Alright, and here he is, Jersey Jack.
Thank you very much. Does anybody know the Wi-Fi password?
Everybody's
Can't get in here.
So is there
Is there air conditioning for this room?
natural? Purple and natural air rectangles.
Come on in if you want to come in.
Yeah, everybody
Come on in. We're all going to suffer together. We could be outside freezing. Oh, we're inside here.
Dialed in. Thank you. I was trying to think.
Dialed in. Come on in.
Square.
You coming in? You're not coming in? Marketing executive from Anthony?
Yeah.
Oh, you remember. It's your biggest fan.
Well, you know, I
Here,
asked.
have a seat.
So what's going on?
We're about ready to do the introduction.
Welcome to Arcade Expo.
Okay, everybody, welcome to Arcade Expo 4.0. I am your host today, Aaron Nicholas. I'm one of the lead techs here at Arcade Expo. You'll see some of the other guys here with red t-shirts are also techs, so make sure you thank them because without their support, we wouldn't be able to have this Arcade Expo for you guys every year, okay? So give it up to those guys too. Great shirt. Okay, so we're happy to have all of you here, of course, and spend some time to get to know the maker of the game, such as Wizard of Oz, right? The Hobbit, Dialed In, which coincidentally won the Twippies. Everyone know what Twippy means this week in Pinball? Best Animations and Display, Best Toys and Gimmicks, Best in Theme Integration, Best in Code and Rules, Best Playfield Game Play and Layout, and Game of the Year. Drop the mic on that one.
Oh, hey, quick raise of hands. Who has played the smartphone version with the smartphone controllers of Dialed In?
I tried, but
That's it!
I kept crashing.
Alright, so we're gonna set it up out there so you guys can try it out. I swear it's the weirdest and most exhilarating feeling.
Licorice?
He's gonna get some liquor. Alright.
Okay, so, and then if you guys have also seen Museum of Pinball has 2 of the rare Pirates of the Caribbean pinball machines here on location. I hope you guys are able to play it. It's an awesome game. That's the new game from Jersey Jack. So please, help me bring a warm California welcome to Jersey Jack Guarnieri.
And that's about the only thing warm here, really.
In this room.
What the heck? Come to California, I thought it was going to be, us New Jersey people are freezing. Spring doesn't want to come. So I came here to come out, everybody was like, oh, jealous. Oh, you're going to California, you'll be in the sun. Yeah, okay, right.
Well, we appreciate you being here today, and thank you for
Thank you for
flying all
having
the way
me.
out here. Yes.
Well, my arms are tired. I just
You had to carry all those pinball machines on your back too, right? Yeah. Okay, so I guess the first question we got for you is.
So what's the format here? I'm going to stand here, like.
Yeah. Out in the
You're
middle.
just going to ask me. Maybe I
I'm
could go sit somewhere. I'll go sit over here. You can ask me a question.
Or you gotta raise your hand high though. Okay, you gotta raise your hand high.
I'm fine. Okay, go ahead. I'm ready.
Okay, just tell us a
Are
little
there any
bit about.
points for these questions? What happens?
What's that?
There any contest I win by asking these
Yeah,
questions?
I got some
You're
Jersey
not
Jack
being
t-shirts.
biased.
No, they're going to win stuff.
I got Jersey Jack t-shirts for you,
Good,
and I've
good,
got Jersey
good.
Jack trans
I see there's a
lights.
bunch of hats I brought.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to give those to people that I just decide to give them a hat. Just for the heck of it. Okay, go ahead. I'm
right.
ready.
So, hey, can
First
you tell,
question.
where did you get your start, and tell us about your passion and how it grew from there.
Oh, how much time do we have for this thing? So,
We close at 2 a.m.
Yes.
wait
And
now.
go.
Is everybody okay, by the way? Air conditioning in here is good. The heat in here is good. Everything's good. This dude is wearing sunglasses, man. He's the most optimistic person in the whole place. The sun will come out in this room. So way back, like in many years ago, I kind of took a detour before I was going to go to college to become an electrical engineer. And I took a part-time job, what I thought would be for 6 months, and it was for a pinball mechanic.
Whoa.
And, you know, when I was like 13, 14, 15 years old, I got involved with CB radio and repairing things, and all of our friends, and in school, we kind of became self-taught. I took FCC second class license. You know, I learned all the theory and all that kind of stuff. So I really love electronics and I love to fix things. So I took this job that I thought would be part-time, and the first day we went to, they had game rooms in all these colleges in the New York metropolitan area. And an old guy, his name was Heinz Magdalinsky. He was in the industry 30 years. And I said, that guy's old. I'm doing this 43 years now. So he hired me. His questions he asked me were, you know how to read a schematic? Yeah. You know the solder? Yeah. All right, I like you. Go higher. So, you know, I got to ride around with him a while. And the first game he opened up, I don't remember what exactly it was, but it was electromechanical, of course. And he opened it up. And I looked at that thing, because I never saw the inside of a pinball machine before. And I had a flashback of when I was in kindergarten, and my mother walked out of the classroom, and every kid in the class started crying. And I didn't cry, and I said, I'm not going to cry looking at this pinball machine, you know? I said, yeah, that's no big deal. Yeah, here's the schematic. It's like 3 feet long, and it was very cool. We became really good friends, and I never did go to college, unfortunately. It hasn't really hurt me much. College is great. It's not for everybody. The world still needs plumbers and carpenters and electricians and, you know, all those kind of people. And people that fix pinball machines, believe it or not. So that was way back ago. And, you know, I worked at that company. Then I became a game operator. I put games on location all over New York City, Brooklyn especially. And developed amusement centers and developed games, became a distributor, started pinballsales.com in 1999, the end of 1999. I thought there was a need. There was actually something, people at home would buy pinball machines. Okay, who in the room is texting me? Come on in, guys. Come on in. There's plenty of room in here. Come on in. Hi. Hi. How are you? Hi. How are you? Nice to meet you. You know, it was a lot of fun, and you know, for some reason I thought that people would want to buy pinball machines for their home, and other people said, you know, you'd be out of business in a few months, and Christmas only comes around once in a while, and you know, nobody on, you know, the whole other, who here bought a pinball machine from me from pinballsales.com? Yeah, so yeah, cool. Thank you guys, because you helped me build this thing. And you know, I just want to touch on one thing. Well, you might only get to ask 2 questions. You know, years ago I said that when we got pinball machines into people's homes, especially their basements, man caves, whatever it was, that the young people playing those pinball machines are going to grow up, and they're going to be 25 and 30 years old, and they're going to go out into the wild, and they're going to go to a bar, and they're going to say, hey, where the heck's the pinball machine here? I grew up with a pinball machine. And you know, I'm proud to say I was right, because we grew a crop of thousands of people that actually grew up playing pinball machine at home. From all those games that were sold, the year 2000, that was 18 years ago. So if you were 10 years old, you're 28 years old today. And you're right in the sweet spot of, hey, where's the pinball machine for this place? So I think it's great. So I didn't really answer your question, but
I think he answered it.
that's what you're going to get.
I'll take that.
At least it's not the 5th, so.
All right. And then I'm going to ask a couple questions, and you know, we are going to open up.
You're going to ask the
your
audience,
bigger
you're going to
fans.
ask questions?
Absolutely.
Oh,
It's
my
gonna,
God.
your biggest fan.
Listen, I don't leave till 6 o'clock tomorrow morning out of Ontario Airport. I fly back to San Francisco and back to New Jersey, so I'm here. You stuck with me a little while.
Awesome sauce.
All right.
Okay, so if anyone has a Jersey Jack machine, you guys can appreciate the quality of building those
Who has
machines,
one?
right?
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. So Jack, with that being said about your quality, let me find where I was at again. Sorry.
You got it.
Quality of these questions are in question.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so your product has a premium feel to it. Can you elaborate on why you chose this route with going with the premium feel on your games?
Look, there's enough junk out there, so we might as well make something good.
Easy enough.
I think that was a quick question.
Easy enough.
And I mean that in the most respectful way. This guy's on the phone. No, it's okay. You can be on the phone. Who is it? Is it anybody? Hello, damn it. It's Gary Stern. Can I help you? Who is
Shane
it?
Nazari, you know him.
Who is it?
Shane.
Shane.
Ace Gogi.
Oh, it's Ace Gogi. It's not Gary, it's Jack. He's not there. Send that back to Steve Jobs, will you? Oh, he's not around. Send it over to the other guy. Yeah.
All right, next question for you. Potential customers may have questions about parts and availability in the future, all the owners that are in here. When you're asked these kinds of questions, what is your response?
Well, parts will be available, you know, and they are available. You know, we try to design and engineer these things. We have a really great design team. They're all pinball players. They're very passionate. It's not all about me. I get to come to these things and get all the accolades, but then I kind of bring them back and share it with everybody else. You know, we try to over-engineer what we make. So if anybody has lifted up any of our games, they know that it's robust, and you know, the metal on it is pretty robust, and the wood is pretty robust. So we try to make something, let's say for an operator to put on location, where the game is going to make a lot of money before it really needs parts. So you know, parts are available. I got to be honest with you, we don't sell a lot of parts.
Wow.
I wish we sold more, but a lot of the stuff really, you know, but they're available. So if anybody wants parts, you know, we got them.
Great. All right, we're going to open up to the audience here. Who has a question for Jack?
That's all you had?
No,
I got more. I got more.
All right, how do you choose your designers, Jack?
You know, there's an interesting thing about designers, because there was like a really small pool of designers. And the gentleman that designed Pirates, we hired him. I hired him. I met him at a show in Wisconsin years ago, back in 2011. His dad's in the industry, and he was going to school for engineering. I hired him while he was still in college. And I said to him, you know, you can design a game one day. And I don't know if he thought I was joking or not, but he's an electrical engineer. And he's got a robotics degree as well. And he played games since he was this big, and he fixed games since he was this big. And his dad had a route. And I said, like in baseball, this is like a 5-tool baseball player. And I knew he could make a really great game. And Pirates of the Caribbean, for a first game out of the box, not too shabby. I think Eric and his team, they did a great job. They had a great license to work with. It was something that I wanted to do for many years. I wanted to do Pirates of the Caribbean. You know, honestly, we know I sold a lot of them back in 2006 and 7 and 8. Stern probably made about 7,000 of them. I hope I get to make half that many, and it would be great. So Eric's a brand new designer, but he has a great way of looking at it, and the team has a great way of looking at it. And I'm sure the next game will build on the first game.
Can you tell us?
You guys come on in. You come in.
If there's some seats,
You want
a few
There's
seats.
There's
one
some
seat.
Yeah,
seats.
like, I don't know.
It's like, you know, a crowded church or something. You can go,
One seat here.
everybody, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Pirates is
Come on in.
super new. We all don't know too much about like the modes and everything. I heard there's like over 80 modes and like 150 characters or something crazy like that. Which is, you know, we have deep rule set games now,
Right,
but
right.
this is just taking it to extreme level. Like, what is your thought process on that?
So, you know, so it's 7 years ago when I started the company. The landscape I looked at was there were a lot of, you know, good games. But to me, I wanted to have more mechanical items on them, and I wanted to have a deeper rule set. You know, which is why, you know, one of the building blocks of the company to me was hiring Keith Johnson, because he was known for that, right? Today we come a little bit further, and the market is a little different right now. There are very simple games. There are games without a ramp that people enjoy playing, okay? So remember that you want to get people to play a game and not feel frustrated. You want them to feel challenged. A lot of casual players don't want to know that they have to read, you know, a book this big about how the rules are. You know, typically what I tell people about playing the game is, you know, listen to the audio cues and shoot the flashing lights. It's like Pavlovian pinball. You know, you learn how to play. If you get into it a little deeper in the step and you get a little deeper, you know, it's great to watch a tutorial about how to play a game. I don't know that I want to watch a tutorial about how to play a game. You know, when you walked up to high speed, you kind of knew what to do to it, right? So when you're playing, you know, jumping jacks or whatever it is out there, you know, I got to go ABC, I got to knock down all the drop targets, let's have a beer, you know. So there's a balance here that we have to achieve because, you know, you're trying to appeal to this market and that market and the other. The basic building block of everything, it's got to be fun. So it can't be something where it's too challenging, it's too difficult, it's too deep. You know, so I think we strike a balance with everything we do. We try anyway. So yeah.
But even with that, I mean, if the rule set is too difficult, you've also, one of your great innovations was putting the LCD, the miniature LCD screens in your games. Yeah. You know, Pirates of the Caribbean's got it in there, of course dialed in, and The Hobbit. Now Woz, it was your first one, and it's got the crystal ball in there, but that's pretty much the only LCD it's got in there. Do you think there might be maybe a retrovision, maybe to the apron later on, that you might put something in there?
No.
Okay.
There's so much in that game that, you know, what I said when we did was I wanted to accomplish sensory overload, right? We accomplished it, you know. So for most people, they love it and it's a challenge, but again, you know, you don't know where to look, you don't know where to shoot, you don't know what you're going for. It's confusing, so you don't want to make it too much. You know, Woz is probably still my favorite game because it was our first and because so much went into it. You know, when you look at our games together and out there you have an opportunity to see the first 4 games that we've done, one is not better than another, or one is not worse than another. To me, they complement each other. They have different things on them. You know, Woz has 1 drop target. Next game out of the box, you have 11 drop targets. Not that you have 11 drop targets on Hobbit, you have 11 resettable drop targets individually on Hobbit. Then you go to Dialed In, where you have, gee, it's not a movie. It's its own intellectual property. And you can get your phone and you can flip flippers and, you know, right now, and there'll be more interactive, you know, compatibility with the app as we go along too. And it takes your picture. So that's something I wanted in about 1977. I wanted to put a Polaroid camera on top of a big game gun, pinball machine. And I said, okay, how am I going to get that so that people in the location don't steal a camera? Okay, that was a good idea. I said, oh, let me pull that idea out of my head here because I can't do it on Wizard of Oz, I can't do it on Hobbit, but I can do it on an original game that we do. It's all about technology. So, you know, people say to me about Dialed In, you know, so let me ask you something. Am I trying to save the city? Or am I trying to destroy the city? And my answer is yes. Exactly. Come on in.
Where do all those selfie pictures go?
They don't go anywhere. They're just in the game. They
now.
disappear. They don't
Go
connect.
to JJP headquarters
No,
and
no.
watching our worst
The
faces.
cool thing about the game, you know, I didn't want a game connected to the evil internet. So the only way it's connected to anything is connected to you. You know, so in the future, and we have a patent for this, so in the future, if you're connected to the game, you know, the game connects to you, and you connect up there, you know, to the cloud. The game itself doesn't need to be plugged in, doesn't need to be on Wi-Fi. I mean, we've sold those games to basically governmental agencies that are so secure with firewalls and things like that, where they said, we don't want anybody, you know, calm down. It's a pinball machine. Just take a deep breath.
So one of the other,
The selfies, they're not part of the attract mode? They don't come up later, months later, you'll see your friend from 2 months ago playing?
It's not really that time-lapsed in there. I mean, it's recent high scores.
Okay.
You know, we could have options later on, let's say, a hall of shame, you know, people that tilt the game or stuff like that.
The gorillas.
The hall of shame would be good, because I'd be the first guy in.
The first one out.
When I do that shows, you know, that's just Brooklyn and me coming out.
Yeah, what's up,
I guess you won't do it because you don't want to connect to the internet, but I sure think it would be neat if you could play your friend that's elsewhere over the internet. That would be just.
Yeah, I think that's neat too. I do think that's great. I'd like to see that. You know, pinball is a very social game, right? That's why, you know, all of us, I think all of us love video games. I love video games. When I went in the hall there, and I got to say, this place is amazing. You know, John Weeks and everybody here, and just, this place is just amazing. And I'll answer your question in a minute. I just want to go back one step. You know, I said last year when I didn't come here, I said, you know, hey, next year I'll come there. And the Texas show, I was going to the Texas show. And then somebody up there, in the guy that keeps double calendars or whatever, they said, oh, let's make these the same weekend. We'll see if we could get Jack to go to both. So it didn't mess me up. You know, I went to Texas yesterday and this morning I came here, and tomorrow I'll go home. So don't make 3 shows on a weekend, because it's not gonna work. I don't know where I'm gonna go. But yeah, so I do think pinball being social, people interact physically. It would be good to have a tournament online, but think of the logistics, right? We have to put a device in the game to make sure the glass is on it, and I'm not talking about a switch that's going to be there. You have to put something actually to sample the sound in the game. How much sound is there in the game with the glass on, or how much volume of air is there in the game when there's the glass on it? And it would be kind of wacky. But I don't know if we'll go out on that ledge.
I wouldn't say for tournament, just for fun.
For fun would be good. But I would take the glass off my game and kick your ass. Not really. Not really. But I might think about it. I might think about it.
All right, Jack, if we can skip over to IP, intellectual property, can you share your ideas on the pros and cons with working with a licensed IP, since 3 of your 4 now are based off of IPs?
So the really good thing about having a license, and this has been said before, is that you know, people, their imagination goes wild, right? And you hear a name of a game and a name of a property, a license, a band, a theme. So, wow, you know, you start imagining all that stuff. Pretty much, I think any product in the world can't meet or beat your imagination. It really can't. You know, I don't think it can. But then the product comes out and you say, wow, you know, that's great. The good thing with IP is that it gives you a roadmap and you have a story to follow, so you know what you're going to do, all right? With an original idea, you have this blank canvas and you have no clue what you're going to do. And you can get really lost very deep in the woods if I tell you, go get some firewood, we're going to build a fire, and you came back and you cut the whole forest down. You know, it wasn't really the same thing. So I think there's a balance where I wanted to do an original game. To me, Pat Lawler and the team were the license. Pat was completely willing and he wanted to do you know, a movie or a TV show or a character or something like that. And I thought it was time for an original game. I think what we did is that we told other people that have this creative idea, hey, you know what? They did it, we could do it. You know, so there are rumors that other people, you know, rumors, there are games and there are other people doing games that are, you know, original intellectual property, which is cool because look, if you go out in the hall, I don't know the percentage, let's say, well, you gotta throw out all the new games, but like, if you went before, you know, the 1990s, like probably 99.9% of everything was original theme. You know, it was bowling games, it was baseball games, it was, you know, card games, it was, you know, all that kind of stuff, you know. That was what was popular in culture, you know. So right now, you know, this is kind of popular in culture. So why not have a game that involves, you know, doing what we did with that? So that's what we did. But I don't know when we'll have another original game. I wouldn't say never, but probably not the next 1 or 2 games.
Okay, going along with that then, we'll stay with the IP stuff. You guys have yet to do a music-themed pinball machine, so which band are you guys looking at doing for a music-themed pinball machine?
You know, we're not looking at any band right now. And you know, there are bands and there are solo music artists that contact us, and they say, you know, were you interested in doing a game? And you know, some music titles are really polarizing. You know, if somebody really likes a certain band or a certain style or whatever, it's hard. You know, you'll get that group. You know, I'm sure AC/DC sold really well in Australia. You know, and it's a good game on its own right. So great. So the people that might not like that buy it because they like it, and then they get into it. You know, we sold a lot of Wizard of Oz games in France, and nobody there has even seen a movie. I mean, not nobody, but almost nobody, because we have customers that love the game, and I have never seen the movie. Okay, great. So, you know, will we do a music game? I hope so. I mean, I'd like to do a music game, but it's got to be the right band, the right group, everything's got to fit.
So, you know? So what's playing in your mind? What band would be, like, what would be your band?
Ooh.
Booty and the Blowfish.
Rush.
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 Those guys called me, by the way.
They did?
2112.
I only know one of their songs, Tom Sawyer. So
2112.
I didn't realize. I think I was talking to the guitar player or whatever. It's bad when you're a celebrity and the guy that you're talking to that you're trying to impress don't know who you are. Next question.
Do you know Jeff Teolis?
Who?
From Pinball Profile, Jeff Teolis.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we reached out to him because he's been doing a lot of profiles. I don't know if anybody listens to podcasts on their commute to work or anything like that. I happen to. I know Emoto knows him. So he reached out and he gave us some questions. So I got some questions from Jeff. One is.
Phone a friend.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see here. Does each new release get easier with experience?
Yes and no. Because, you know, a lot of what you're doing, you did it before, but a lot of what you're doing it for the first time. So, you know, experience would be a great teacher, and it should be, but when you're doing new things that haven't been done before, your experience is going to happen as you're doing them. So inevitably you'll make mistakes and learn from it, and you just hope you don't make big mistakes that cost a lot of money or a lot of time or a lot of detours. But, you know, we want the people that work for the company designing these products to have freedom to explore and freedom to make some mistakes and freedom to learn from the mistakes and freedom to celebrate successes. You know, we'd rather have more successes than failures, but I got to be honest with you, from personal experience, I've learned a lot more from failure than success. You know, so,
I can say the same thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Eric was a great find for you guys for JJP. Are you guys currently on the lookout for new and upcoming
Anybody want to design a pinball
designers?
machine? Anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course we're looking. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, all the time. It's not like I'm, you know, actively. I mean, there are people that come up to me at shows, and I get resumes, and I get, you know, asked, and you know, I never say never, really. That's how I wound up starting a pinball company. I mean, I had to think about this in hindsight, which I don't like to look backwards, but in 2011, on January 1st, there were a little bit more than 7 billion people on planet Earth, and I was the only one that decided to start a pinball company at the time. I said, wow, was that good? Was it bad? Yeah, it was good, and it was bad. You know, it's difficult. Everybody that does anything is going to have difficulty, stress, failure, criticism, jealousy, people wishing you good, people wishing you fall and wishing well. That's life, you know. You just put this foot in front of this foot, in front of this foot, and before you know it, you climbed up the mountain and, you know, you did what you're supposed to do. Don't get deterred. Don't listen to people that tell you you're going to fail. The more people that told me I was going to fail, the more fun it was to not fail. So.
Life lesson for sure. Yeah, let's open it back up to the crowd.
I've got a question. I know 3 or 4 of your games are wide bodies.
Kevin LaRue.
Yes, sir.
How are you, my friend?
Good. With dialed in being a standard body.
What did you say? What's the first
3 of your 4 games are wide body games. With dialed in being a standard. Do you? Is it a directive to go wide body games, or is it just based on per design?
We told Eric to build a standard size game with no upper playfield. That's the truth.
So you're letting the design lead the.
Yeah, within reason. I mean, within reason, right? You know, I mean, look, we all know designers design for themselves, engineers engineer for themselves. There's a certain thing called a business that needs to run in a certain way, on a certain budget, a certain timeline. So those things in every kind of company that creates things, if anybody works for those companies, you're all shaking your heads, those things are, you know, contradictory to each other. You know, well, there's no time limit on creativity. Yeah, but there's actually a time limit on how much money I want to pay you. Yeah, you know, so, you know, is your creativity limited by the amount of time and the amount of money you have to finish the job? Absolutely. Michelangelo would have painted all of Rome instead of just the Sistine Chapel if he was allowed to have more time and more money. So everything comes to an end. But when it ends, it's got to be a beginning of a really great product, whatever you make. It can't be the end of something that you pulled the plug on and said, ah, you know, this thing it's good enough the way it is. You know, we don't have time to finish this thing. You guys can come on in here. There's seats. There's a whole other room with 60 people listening. You know, it's like there's a whole room out there. Come on in. Okay, they're camera shy. There's too many cameras in this room. They might be wanted by the post office or something.
Great question. Anyone else? Yes, in the black shirt.
Is Pat Lauer doing
Pat
any?
Waller.
Waller. Is he doing any
Pat
more?
Lauer is a different guy. He works for another pinball company that's starting tomorrow afternoon. So.
He's
That's a joke.
Is he doing any more designs for you?
Yes. Yes. What is he working on? I'll tell you what he's working on.
Oh, exclusive.
He's working on another game.
Well, that's why I didn't ask for it.
So don't tell anybody. It's just
Is it
for
one?
us
Is it one of
and
your
everybody
next
that's
two
gonna look
releases?
at these videos, you know. By the way, I can never watch these things anywhere. I know they're around and I get links to them, and I just can't take listening to my Brooklyn accent. Once I hear myself once, that's enough. So I'm done.
Robbie.
Is there a cycle to like creating games? Are you looking like to come out with one? Is there a time schedule you want to? Like, what's the cycle to come out with? Like music, for instance, like they say spring is a good time for artists to release their music.
Yeah.
So they have the summer song.
It's never a bad time to buy a good game. I will tell you that. And you know, I'd like to see a game every 18 months. Really. That's what I'd like to see. No, I'm sorry. I'd like to see 2 games every 18 months.
Wow.
That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see 1 game every 9 months or so. Ideally, you know. But if you can't make something really good, then you know it's going to take a little bit longer to get. And we'll get there. You know, we started as a little acorn, and then we were, you know, the trees were growing. So, yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, how many do you make in a day once they're in production?
So it depends what line we're running, and you know, like right now we're building about 15 dialed-in games a day, and we just changed the line over. We stopped building Wizard of Oz for a while. We kind of ran out of some parts, and we still have orders for Hobbits. So
you only have 1 line at a time.
we have 2 lines. We have a small line that could build like 5 games a day. We call it like a boutique line, and then the bigger line we could probably build more than 20 games a day. But we don't, you know, even though you have millions of dollars worth of parts, it's like, well, why build 20 games a day when I need 15 games a day, or we're building a container for Europe or Australia? So we vary what we're building depending on who we're building it for, but the average is about 12 to 15 dialed in a day, and then when we start building Hobbit, it'll be 5 a day.
So does it take a certain number before you'll rerun the game again?
Well, sometimes, you know, we had orders for Hobbit, and then we'll go back and build Hobbit again. But at some point, you know, we might be out of parts of that. Somebody reminded me at a show, one of our customers said, you know, you're the only pinball company right now that's building every single game that you've released at the same time. I mean, we're still building Wizard of Oz, right?
I was going to just ask you.
Still building Dialed In, still building, and I renewed the Wizard of Oz license for another few years, so. You know,
oh wow!
It might be 100th anniversary edition of that game. Who knows?
Great question. There's a gentleman in the back that has his hand up.
I was just curious about the 3-tier gaming system, the collector's edition, the standard. Is that something that's beneficial to the manufacturer? Is that something that personally you might like to see go away?
No, I wouldn't see it go away because I created it, but you know, I think it's beneficial to the customer in a way, because the way we do it, we don't take fun out of each game.
Can you explain? I don't know all your different tiers. Would you explain?
So on the first tier is a standard game, It's meant for an operator. Okay, it's a little bit less expensive. You know, it's basically you know, chrome body armor, and it pretty much has all the same features of the next game, which we call limited editions. People say, oh, you know, limited edition, that's a joke. You make 1,500, you make 2,000, you know. So there were like around almost 22,000 Addams families, and you don't see too many of them around. They're kind of limited right now, you know. So we're not making 22,000 of anything. So I think everything's limited except aggravation. So there's only a certain amount of those games, so we call that the limited edition right now. That's the middle line game that has like really cool everything in it. And then we did a collector game because people asked us to do that. So we made a game another level up that there's only a couple hundred of it. So it's more limited than the limited. Okay, but it's not unlimited. So,
is that only WAS that you've done that?
No, we did that on every game so far. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, you know, the market is there for certain things, and you know, sometimes you don't know what the market is, like until you stick your toe in the water. But doing this, as long as we're doing it, we really should know what the market is, you know, for what we're building. So the good thing is we don't have extra stock of anything. Like most of our distributors have almost nothing in stock. So these games, you know, if you had a box here with our game on it and you put a price on it, the game's gone. I mean, that's what happened in Texas. I saw other games in boxes that were marked up yesterday, and before I left last night, they had an arrow through them with like a $500 lower price. So people charging less, they know what their product is worth. It's worth a lot less.
There's a lot of good gouge about making pinball machines. There's a few companies out there, of course, that are also making pinball machines, as I'm sure we're all aware of. What makes JJP so unique, though?
You know, I think part of it, you know, it has to stem from me, and not to be, you know, egotistical or anything like that. You know, everything starts, there's a nucleus for things, and, you know, I'm an operator, I'm a technician, I have a lot of customers for a lot of years, I'm a player. So, you know, my first thought was to make a game for operators that would work and make money, be relatively easy to service. The games would work well, and then be fun to play. And that was really the basic idea. Have a lot of fun mechanical items on it. Bring new technology to the table where new technology wasn't there. You know, today we look at RGB LEDs or LEDs, and it's like you could yawn. But you know, when Wizard of Oz first debuted, and people looked at a whole playfield of RGB LEDs sweeping and everything, people lost their minds.
Yes.
I mean, it was crazy. I went to a vendor that made the inserts. Come on. I went to a vendor that made the inserts for like a lot of pinball companies. And when I went to meet this guy, he said, "Oh, you're the guy that's going to go out of business. Nice to meet you." Oh, okay, great. Nice to meet you too. Oh, come here. And he took me to this big, gigantic room, and there were boxes and boxes of inserts that go into playfields, and it was like Lucky Charms. By the way, happy St. Patty's Day, everybody! So there were pink stars and orange moons and green clovers and all that stuff. And he said, "You know what? All of this stuff here, I'll give you a good deal on all this stuff if you put it in your game. You didn't design anything yet, so why don't you use that in your game?" And I said, "Steve, all the inserts are going to be clear." "What are you, stupid? The whole game's going to be white? Who's going to buy that game?" "What kind of game?" "No, we're using RGB." "Get out." Get out. So, you know, when you do different things, sometimes it's an explanation that has to go with it. But yeah, we like to bring new technology to the table.
Speaking of technology, can you talk a little bit about your other invention, Pendemption, and what that's all about?
You know, Pendemption's something that's kind of limited, but it's really good for a family entertainment center and FEC that wants to have a pinball machine that gives tickets. So it's very difficult for a pinball machine and a family entertainment center to command money, as opposed to a crane that's picking up like rolls of tickets that makes a lot of money and things like that. So my idea was to make the game give tickets for a reason, so the screen tells you why it's giving you tickets. Take the rule set and collapse it. Make the game be on time play rather than ball play, and make it be one player, so that you don't have stacked players trying to play it. Because remember, if you played, you need to get your tickets. I play, I need to get my tickets. And where we've put them, they've had success. It's a hard sell to the chains like the Dave & Buster's or the Chuck E. Cheese kind of places, because they don't have technicians to fix pinball. They're into redemption. They're not into pinball. But we're getting a lot more pinball machines on the street-to-street operators. So, it's another option for the game.
Is this like a modified version of your game?
Yeah, I mean, every game has the software in it, but you have to buy a dongle for $199, because that pays for all of the time to make the thing. And you plug the dongle in your game, and then you can go into the game and put Pindemption rules on. So if you have...
Is it more basic?
It is. It is. So there are home customers that bought them, and they put Pindemption on for their kids to play. So the game is more of a basic kind of game, and it's a time game. And actually, the ball, like on Wizard of Oz, when the ball drains, you don't even have to shoot the ball shoots itself.
Right,
So next we're gonna have the flippers flip themselves. So you can just stand there and say, well, somebody can play your game from over here, and I'm flipping your flippers. I've done that at shows, and that's really funny. One guy at IAPA, the first year, was kicking the game. He says, my game's, broke. Your game's not broken. I'm playing with the flipper.
I thought that was great with Dialed In, because it's about cell phones. We're all with our phones, and yet you can actually play the game with the phone. I think that's
right. And it takes a selfie.
And it takes a selfie.
Ron.
Hey, Jack. What shapes the design of your game, when you look at the commercial market versus the consumer market, or international versus domestic?
Yeah. Well, so, good question, but I violated all those rules because, common sense would tell you need to have a license that's worldwide appeal. So you're probably never going to see another baseball pinball machine, because you don't play baseball over there. You probably won't see another soccer pinball machine because, while soccer is a little bit more popular here, it's not enough to carry the day with sales, So a lot of those things that you had before, you probably won't have. So, we look at things that are multi-generational, that appeal to everybody, young people, older people, our audience that wants to play them. I've said it before, we kind of run a family-friendly kind of thing. So, in our games, I'm really doubtful that you're going to see guns and blood and guts and all that kind of stuff on our games. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but, I don't see, in Hobbit, people, there's no blood anywhere or anything like that. It's a fantasy kind of thing. So when it gets closer to human kind of thing, especially with everything going on in the world today, the whole video game industry just got blamed for gun violence, right? So, there are statistics, and I'm not going to get into it now, but there are statistics that prove that, that's really not true. It's not the case, So it's kind of an easy thing to point and say, oh, people are playing violent things and they go do violent things, and it's really a place where today we're really happy to make a game that brings fun to this world. So that's really our happy sweet spot of where we are when we think about what we're going to do.
If we can go back to something real quick about the bands. So you said you didn't know what band you liked or whatever like that. You left a little ambiguity there. Hold on a second, give me a chance here. I want to put the script. What about the bands that like pinball, more particularly GNR and Slash? Heard about you guys going on backstage, setting up some pinball machines for them. Would you care to elaborate on that experience?
Yeah, but I have other rock and roll friends that we've been backstage.
Oh, elaborate.
With, so, there's a lot of people that love pinball. It just don't mean that, it doesn't mean you're going to do a game. Guns N' Roses was a really good game, and to do another Guns N' Roses game, you'd have to do a really better game. So the challenge it's a challenge, but that's not on the radar right now.
But how's that experience though, working with the band and
I don't know. I haven't worked with the band.
Oh yeah, okay.
Are you trying to trick me?
That's right.
No, it's true. You know, that was an easy question.
Well, I mean, you've been afforded the
Oh, I touched my nose, you know. That's another thing. Years ago, somebody asked me when we're going to get circuit boards delivered, if we order them. And I was up in Northern California at a show. And, you know, since I have a big nose, I got to scratch it sometimes. Somebody wrote on social media, he told a lie, he scratched his nose. So I just didn't tell a lie. Actually, I touched my nose. What kind of body language did he have when he wrote that thing?
Go ahead, Robbie.
Oh yeah, you've had the opportunity to like Aaron's saying, like to meet different bands and celebrities and stuff. I guess Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody else? I mean, who else have you?
A lot of people. You know, the funny thing, a lot of people have our games really big celebrities, and they're very private people. And you know, we don't go take pictures. We don't ask if we could take pictures, and you know, it's just. There was a, you know, I'm gonna put some out there. There was a really pretty actress that bought a Wizard of Oz game, okay? And I really didn't know who she was because of a generational thing. And Jen, you know, works for the company, my daughter, and she is amazing. And she comes to me one day about a year and a half ago or so, and she says, well, you're not gonna believe this, but so-and-so wants you to sign a Wizard of Oz manual for her. And I was like, yeah, I kind of know that name. She says, you don't know who that is? And I had to go, I says, oh wow, that's who that is? Wow, that's pretty cool. So, yeah, you know, it's fans come in all categories, but certainly a lot of the people that are artists in a lot of ways, musicians, actors, actresses, you know, they love pinball. And we have a lot of those customers.
Do they purchase them directly through you guys, or they go through a distributor?
A lot of times through distributors.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, a theme brings people out. You know, because if you're a Wizard of Oz fan and you didn't know anything about pinball, you heard there's a Wizard of Oz game, you have to buy that. You know, so yeah, pretty cool.
Yes, the little guy in the back.
What theme pinball game would you want to do the most right now? Like what theme?
Oh.
Great question.
You know, I'd ask you people. You know, what would be the theme you'd want to do most? What would you
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin.
Rush.
Yeah.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Willy Wonka.
What?
No, JK, not gonna do it.
What?
I said we love it if you got Harry Potter or Willy Wonka, but I know JK doesn't want Harry Potter done. That's the rumor.
The rumors.
Uh-oh.
Rumors are really good. Rumors are really good. Not that I know anything about the rumor.
How about American Ninja Warrior?
Ninja Warrior.
I think Harry Potter and DP would be an awesome combination.
You know, there are a lot of really good things you could do. There's still a lot of things out there. I think we'll be, you know, diving into that pool for a lot of years.
Hope so.
Yeah. You like how I didn't answer that question?
Go ahead, Robbie.
See what you do? You just learned another life lesson. When you don't want to hear the message, you change the channel, right?
Tune it out.
Just change the channel.
What's the market outside of the United States that is really, you know, booming with pinball? Is it like Australia, or is it somewhere in Europe? And if it's in Europe somewhere,
Yeah, you know what's going on right now. The economy's good. Pretty much worldwide economy is a little bit better. There are some really depressed countries still out there, but for the most part, when you have the euro historically years ago was so much higher than $1. And I remember years ago, you know, the euro was like $1.50 compared to $1, and people were coming from Europe with buying suitcases and taking everything back home. Now it's a little bit more stabilized, but countries like Australia and a lot of the European countries, the UK, they're all buying pinball, you know, because again, the market is getting bigger. You see shows like this, you see events like this, there's more of them, it's growing, you know. You have a couple of guys in Chicago that ran Pinball Expo, right? Yeah. Rob Burke and Mike Pasak, two friends of mine. They run the show for 30 years. They have an argument with each other, right?
Yeah.
They get divorced, and you know what the result is? Now we can have 2 pinball shows.
Yes.
Like 2
What the heck? Why didn't they break up years ago? So if we knew we'd get an extra show, they should have got split up like 20 years ago. Really.
Well, with that being said, Jack, where do you see your market at right now when you guys look at it? Is it more towards the home user, or is the operator still a factor, or where's the percentages lie?
So, you know, the operator has a sweet spot. You know, one of my sayings in the industry for many years to operators, since I'm an operator, it doesn't matter what the game costs, it matters what the game makes. So if you buy a pinball machine that's brand new for $5,000 and it makes $30 a week, is that as good as buying a game for $7,000 that makes $150 a week?
Yeah.
Where's your return on investment? So this is an educational process where, you know, next week I'm going to be at Arcade in Jersey City. And these guys are great operators. They have great places. They never had Jersey Jack games. They came down. We showed them what our games were, and they bought 3 games right away. So, you know, if you show them and you teach them and they're already into pinball and you help them with it, when they see the cash box, it doesn't matter if I tell them the game's going to make money. The reality is, if the game goes out and it works and makes money, they buy more games. So I have sent games to operators, and I said, I had a guy argue with me that he wanted to buy the game, and when he heard the price, says, oh, we don't have that kind of money to pay. I said, tell you what, take the game, and if it doesn't make any money, just send it back, okay? He bought 2 more games.
Good. Wonderful.
That's it. That's it. You know?
Good job. Good job.
Yeah, I mean, when somebody did that to me when I was an operator, you know, and people weren't throwing things around, you know, they would call you up and they would say, oh, you want to buy this game? It's making $800 a week at Broadway Arcade. How many you want? Well, great, I want the one that's at Broadway Arcade.
And only that one.
Because if I put it somewhere on the moon and I don't have the same demographic people playing it, what good is that? You know, it's not reality. But really, right now, I would say we're about 95-10. 95. That doesn't add up.
Yeah.
It's about 95. It's about 10% of what we sell probably goes to operators.
Okay.
Around the world.
Great.
It's 95-10. So.
I like that. Gentleman in the black shirt.
So I know pinballs used to be a big thing.
I thought he was going to say pinball's hard. I swear that's what I thought. Who's this part? Where is it? Oh, okay. Here. Okay, good.
So I know they used to be a big thing, and I know recently they have kind of slowed down, and you don't see them as much and as often as you used to. Would you say that there would ever be a big pinball comeback?
It's happening right now.
Yeah.
So
you're part of it.
What's your name? Okay, Christopher, you get the first hat.
Oh.
Because we don't have all night, I got to get rid of these hats. So. By the way, make pinball great again. You can adjust the size.
Thank you.
Talk about the resurgence of pinball, though, Jack.
So,
What have you seen?
I was at the amusement show 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas, right? And operators there. So it's a different show than a show we go to with you guys, because you know everything about pinball. You can tell me about it, right? So these people are operators, and a lot of them got rid of their pinball machines. So guy comes over to me, and I'm probably wearing this shirt. Yeah, probably wearing the shirt. My badge, you know, is around my neck. And the guy comes over and he starts telling me about how pinball is making a recovery on locations, how people are going to barcades, and the young people, the millennials, are discovering pinball, and pinball's coming back, and all of this stuff. And Butch, who writes the manuals, Butch is, you know, in the booth with me, and I'm just listening to the guy because he's selling me on why pinball is coming back. And he says, Butch goes over to him and he says, hey, you know, that's Jersey Jack you're talking to over there, you know. So the guy goes like that, and he says, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Can I get a picture? Could I get an order? Okay. I said, he says, so who would have thought that pinball would make this recovery? And I said, me. That's why I started a pinball company in 2011. Yes. What do you think? I started the company so we don't sell any pinball machines?
Of course not.
Of course we started this to help do this. So yeah, is it making a recovery? Yes. Pinball's a really fun thing for all the reasons why you love it. I don't know that, you know, there'll be factories building 20,000 games a year. I don't know that that'll happen again. But I do think it's growing, and we're in a good spot. I think if there was a chart here, and I could tell you, we're here. I think we're going there and beyond. I don't think we're at the point where it's a bubble, it's a bell curve, it's going this way and that way. People complain about expensive games, but you know what? In 2000, I sold you an Addams Family for $1,800 because the game cost me $500 to bring it in from Germany. We put $500 into it to make it beautiful, and I made $800 profit on it.
Huh.
I could buy that out of your basement right now for $5 grand, no questions asked. I mean, really? I mean, you're not spending money on pinball machines. Where are all the wives? This is especially for the wives that love pinball, okay? Your husband is not spending any money on pinball machines. He's just putting it there for a little while, okay? Because one day, if it gets sold or whatever, it's there. I'm not telling you it's a guarantee, because it's not. If you bought a brand new game and you took it out of the showroom, you opened the box, somebody, it's gonna go down for a while until it comes back this way. The people that who bought a Wizard of Oz for $6,500, an Emerald City limited edition game?
Day one.
Day one. Okay, the game on eBay is like 12, 13 grand right now. You can't get the game.
Wow.
So,
Good job.
All right, we got time for about a couple more questions. All right, number 2, go ahead.
How does...
What's your name?
Liam.
Liam? Cool. Okay, I'm listening.
Go ahead.
How does a popular... How do I say this? How does the
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How does the things popular in the consumer market changing affect pinball games development?
Are you an economist?
Yeah, hey, let's give it up for him. That was a great question.
He's studying at Harvard University School.
He should have been the one up here asking the questions.
Mellon, yeah. Economics have a lot to do with it, but my famous saying of "we sell everything nobody needs" comes into play. Because this is a big toy for most people, and you really don't need this thing. You want it, but you don't really need it. So even in the recession, when the Great Recession came in, and we were selling a lot of pinball machines at pinballsales.com, when 2008 came along, we were up in sales until May or June of 2008. All of a sudden, things started going this way, and 2009, right around March 8th or 9th, it was really bad. I kind of remember, I have a semi-photographic memory, I remember a lot of dates. It was a really bad time. And a lot of our customers, here's what happened. A lot of our customers stopped buying these games because it was not, in their mind, the correct thing to do. Even though they could afford them. Their neighbor might have gotten laid off, somebody in the family might have gotten laid off, and here's this guy Ron buying a brand new game for $5 grand.
Wow.
Okay, well, that's not right. So Ron had to stop buying stuff. So that's really what happened. Nobody sold us back their games. Nobody. I thought wow, this might not be bad. I'll have to go buy some games back from people that, might be, God forbid, losing their home or something like that. But people got divorced, people died, people lost their games, their jukeboxes. They didn't sell any of that stuff. So, for the toys that you really want, something like this, it's I don't want to say it's kind of economic proof, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close to it, again, because, it's something, it's everything nobody needs kind of thing,
All right, Ralph.
I think.
Go ahead, Ralph.
I've been in the industry for a long time, and I've ridden...
How long?
Thank you.
I bet you've been in the business since 1972.
Yeah, that's very perceptive of you, since I told you that earlier.
It goes back to that photographic memory.
No, but I've ridden both the crest of the wave of pinball peaking several times and then going back down into the basement a few times. And it's not really a question, it's just a comment. There was a period where we in the industry looked at pinball and lamented the fact that it may go away and never exist again. And my comment is to thank you and the guys like you who are, now that there's an interest again and there's another wave coming, you guys are providing great content, and thank you so much for that.
Very sweet, thank you.
No, it's true.
You got 3 more hands.
3 more
So
hands.
you got 3 more questions.
Okay, there you go.
I just also want to say thank you because.
Oh, you don't give him that.
I just want to say
Give
thank
a
you.
new guy a hat.
He's got 3 questions.
He's got 3 questions on it.
I just want to say thank you because Aaron has a Wizard of Oz, and you know we get together at his house with his family, and I mean it is just such a cool social aspect where with the things like the internet, for instance, it feels even though it brings us together, we're still kind of disconnected from each other.
Yeah.
And you know, pinball's one of those things that just brings us all together. It's amazing.
So it's really cool. That's great.
Tom?
Yeah, how do you feel, because for a while...
I feel pretty good, actually.
Oh,
you mean there's more to the question?
There's actual competition in actual, you know, manufacturing pinball? Because for a while, there was a time when there was only one company, and now there's there's Spooky, and some other smaller ones, that one company actually has to be more innovative, or they actually have to compete harder.
So, you know, if you're the last one doing anything, you're a loser, okay? So a monopoly in an industry, typically, if you read and study about monopolies and everything, they pretty much don't work too well because they don't have any real need to innovate, to spend money, to do anything really. It's not an exciting kind of thing. So I think, you know, if we went to an auction and you're trying to sell something and there's only one person there bidding on it, it's not an auction. So it's no fun. You know, once you have another company in there, I think when I started the company, there were some people that looked at me and said, hey, you know, that guy's, he's an idiot. If he could do that, I could do that too. You know? So, you know, some people jumped in the pool and they did it, and some people jumped in the pool and they drowned. You know, that's what happens with different things. Like, we went to a restaurant together, and you said, wow, this place is great, let's open a restaurant. What do we know about that? We know how to eat. So I think you have to measure what you're doing. Knowing as much as I knew, I was certainly surprised, and it was more chance for failure than probably success for a long time, you know, really. But competition's great, you know, or you go back to 2011 podcast where I said, I hope there's 50 companies building pinball machines. And I feel that way. Bring them on. Bring them all on. Just make everybody better.
Okay.
Enjoy the hat, wear it well.
Seeing a bunch of hands go up.
How about this lady here? You're picking all guys. You got
the
the girl with the Cliffy hat.
Yeah, there you
the
go.
girl with the Cliffy
All right,
shirt.
go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
Which one of your games is your favorite and why?
Wizard of Oz is my favorite.
Yeah,
Okay, I will tell you that, you know, my favorite game is the one on the assembly line, but that's, you know.
I've heard that.
She's gotta get half of that question.
Yeah, she does. Absolutely. But it's Wizard of Oz. It just
Your firstborn.
yeah, it was a thing that launched the company. So it's very special to me.
What's your favorite game from the past?
You don't get a chance to answer questions. No, my favorite game from the past. You know, I think it's different eras that I have different games. I like Jack in the Box as a favorite, not because it's a Jack word, but it's a quirky thing with the bumpers here. So the top of the bumper is a death, the bottom of the bumper is a death, the top of the bumper is a life. And I like some of the Gottlieb games that are a little wacky. Even the football game that has those varied targets and everything.
Pro football, yeah.
Yeah, you know, with the double flippers. That one of them out here just killed me twice when the ball went right through the flippers, stuff like that. I like a lot of quirky things, and you see some of those quirky things in a game like Wizard of Oz, where on Wizard of Oz I wanted to see if you lost your ball on either side, you have a chance to get it back. And that wasn't done before. And the bumper on the left side was because I like to shake the game, so you can either get it out of there or you can go into There's No Place Like Home, or you could go spell Toto and make one shot. So I like the you know, those kind of things that add like a little extra level of luck and skill.
That's a feature that gets a lot of attention when someone's doing it.
Yeah.
All the people gathered around really are cheering them on to get.
Yeah. I mean, I've only done No Place Like Home one time with the glass on. With the glass off, I could do it. It's more challenging with the glass on. It's difficult.
Okay, we got 5 minutes, so I saw a couple hands. Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
Is Keith the only one that'll be doing software for your games?
No, we have 4 software people.
Okay.
I mean, Ted, we have JT and Joe Katz. You know, those guys are great. You know, four people do the work of like 8 people. So you know, they're really good. This lady had a question. You're over 3.
I was just going to ask.
But we extended that because now you got an extra 5 minutes.
Yeah, and counting.
I was just going to ask, what games do you own at your home personally?
So I have. There you go, Mike Harris.
Thank you.
Star Wars guy. He wants to buy a Black Arrow, Jen, so give him a good price.
That's right.
So at home I have, I kind of like only got about 5 or 6 games right now. So I have the Rocky and Bullwinkle. I have a Star Trek 25th anniversary game with a transporter thing. And Scotty, I kept it perfect for St. Paddy's Day, but I think he was Scottish, so I don't know if that means anything. I have a Cyclone, and I have a Buckaroo, and I have, what else do I have? I have a High Speed. That's what I have. I had some other games, but some of my friends shamed me and made me sell them, so.
So then, do you have
Can I
a
buy
game?
pictures?
Do you have a game room then, or do you have it sporadically?
They're in the house in the basement, which is finished. It's, you know, it's pretty good. But you know, when I pass them on the way to my office at home, you know, I look at them and they say, "Play me, play me." Go over, I'll say, "Okay."
Okay, this is going to have to be the last one. Gentleman in the black shirt.
Just about the rules. Who has like the last say on determining the rule set? Is that like the game designer or the programmer, or do they butt heads? How does that? They work together. How does that all come together?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, there's one thing I'd like to do. I'd like to take a picture with everybody, if that's possible. So maybe somebody comes up here and I go that way, or they all come this way. How do we want this way?
We'll get that. Just before we break everybody loose here real quick, I just want to wrap everything up.
Oh, okay.
And just want to, again, thank you, Jack, for being out here, for coming out here. Thanks for bringing the games out here. We hope you enjoy your stay out here in California.
Another 4 hours that I'll be here.
Yeah,
I
at
got 12
Arcade
more hours before I'm gone. So
at Arcade Expo at the Museum of Pinball.
I'll be back.
575 pinball games and countless numbers of arcade games here.
It's an amazing place, and I'll tell everybody to come out here.
Yeah, hopefully we're gonna have a beer later, get some autographs and
How many
whatnot.
games did Texas have?
Texas had a lot of games, but you know, you got the beat. I mean,
Oh, sure.
You know, they had a lot of pinball machines, a lot of people. It's a different kind of show.
Sure.
You know, it's been going on a long time, but you know, listen, I wanted to come here because I haven't been here. I've been to Texas. So, you know, if it really worked out that I couldn't be there yesterday, I really would have just came here and not gone there. But I didn't tell them that. I told them I wouldn't come here.
You sneaked in the
Yesterday I said,
overtime
I'm not
question,
going. No, I didn't say that.
Did
But,
you
know,
touch your nose after you said it?
No, I think I scratched my back.
All
I
right.
don't know what that meant. We're
we
gonna
all
take a picture?
We're gonna take a picture. Let's do
So
it.
how are we gonna do it? I'm gonna go there, and you're gonna get everybody. Absolutely. All right. So, can you get everybody? I don't know. You gotta get everybody.
Got a light.
You gotta do selfies style.
Yeah, you gotta do that way.
Oh, I gotta do something.
Would you like to get everybody?
Yeah, you got the magic wand there, right? All right, you play with that thing, and I'll go over here somewhere, maybe.
Hold on a sec. Flip it around.
Oh, ow. You know, every time when you get older, you start making pirate sounds. By the way, what's the letter after Q? Arr. Somebody told me S the other day. I said, yeah, that's right, but that's not the one I'm looking for. That's the wrong letter. C. No. All right, everybody say "Arr!" Arr!
Do you want to get in there?
Yeah, why don't you get in there? Come on, Aaron. Did you get everybody? Because if you didn't get everybody, Jen's going to be
Give you a
pissed.
panorama.
Right. All right, one more. There we go. All right, guys. Yay.
Thank you.